Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we have, after the whole LCS and that long-form video that I made, it seems that we have this that's going on. Now, I understand that you guys probably want to like that video, whatever, but I figured I had to probably say it because I do want to get more into the gaming news and more of that aspect, and this is one way for me to get into that revenue. However, I'll skip that entirely and go directly into what this article and what this is all about. This is all about Project Veritas suing James O Keefe. Are one guy that it gives us and this channel some great news as well because they're on the inside. Unfortunately, I do not have that money or the resources to do this type of stuff, which I hope sometime in the future that I'll be able to do something similar, so that way get more accurate information for all of you to see. Now we have some of this stuff. I'll be doing this exactly how I should do it because it's 70 pages, and I don't want to go through this entire 70-page document. Maybe in a podcast format I would do that because we have more time, but I don't want to waste all your guys' time and all that with going through 70 pages. I just want to get through the nitty-gritty. So it says, being known as the founder of an organization does not entitle that person to run amok and put its own interests ahead of that organization. Defendant James O Keefe failed in his duties to plaintiff Project Veritas, causing serious and significant damage. Project Veritas, I'm pretty sure you guys did that yourselves. You're the ones that fired James O Keefe, and James O Keefe was Project Veritas, and now you're seeing severe negative feedback from what you've done. So this is your fault. This is not James O Keefe. O'Keefe must be held accountable, as must the organization O'Keefe created. Defendant Transparency, DBA O'Keefe Media, for suborning his violations, similarly to two individuals formerly affiliated with plaintiffs, defendants R.C. Maxwell and Anthony Lachopoulos, breached their own contracts with plaintiffs for the benefit of OMG. Plaintiffs, Project Veritas, and Project Veritas Action Fund. Together, Project Veritas are plaintiffs by their attorneys as follows. Project Veritas is a non-stock corporation organized under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is a principal place of business in Mammoth, New York. It is registered in New York as a foreign non-profit corporation. Plaintiff Project Veritas Action Fund is a non-stock corporation organized under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, with a principal place of business in Mammoth, New York. It is registered in New York as a foreign non-profit corporation. Yeah, about that. Yeah, so so there's a lot of stuff that's here. I don't really care. This is nothing that we should really talk about here because this is just this is all lawyer stuff. And this is something I would probably want to talk to Nick Croqueta about and all this stuff. If I ever get a show with him, because he would be more suited and better to talk about this stuff in this reference. It'd be better to do an interview with him and get a kind of understanding of what's been going on here. I don't know nothing about law. You barely, because I even know the basics. So, yeah, it says facts given to complaint of Project Veritas and Project Veritas Action Fund are 501, blah, 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 respectively not for-profit corporations formed under Virginia law with headquarters in Westchester County, New York. So, yeah. Both organizations engage in investigations and reporting aimed at exposing corruption, dishonesty, self-dealing, waste, fraud, and other misconduct both in public and private institutions. Which is the reason why you have also been exposed, Project Veritas, for doing just that to James O Keefe, but I digress. As not-for-profit organizations, plaintiffs only rely on donations from private donors to support their activities. Plaintiffs maintain a database of information about their donors, including the donors' identities and contact information. Plaintiffs keep that donor information confidential and protected from the disclosure to the public by among other things, 1, restricting access to the information, storing it on a password-protected computer system, and 3, requiring employees with access to the information to acknowledge its confidentiality and agree to not disclose it. James O Keefe founded Project Veritas in 2010. He was, through his separation, the chief executive officer of Project Veritas, president of Veritas Action Fund, and a member of the board of directors of both ender organizations, though he was suspended yet not removed. So we have plaintiffs with the operative version of being the employment agreement as amended on September 20, 2022, which O'Keefe and Project Veritas signed on September 30th, 2022. What I want to know is, what is Project Veritas doing here that seems to be any of benefit? People know that they love James O Keefe and they really cared about James O Keefe, and the fact that they're going after James O Keefe again in this lawsuit is showing how bad and how evil Project Veritas is, which isn't going to garner any support at all. You think that the people are going to keep watching your tweets or reading your tweets or whatever? This is going to make you hemorrhage even more. And I'll be putting this stuff out on my Twitter as well, because this needs to be shot out here. Project Veritas is a garbage organization, and they should be treated as such. In paragraph 1B of the employment agreement, O'Keefe agreed that he, if identified as an employee, thereunder shall devote employees' full working time and attention and best efforts to the performance of employee's job. I don't know how true that is. For the most part, it seems like he was CEO, so I don't know how much of an employee you can be as CEO, but I digress. Project Veritas shall be the sole owner of any and all rights in and to the results and proceeds of employee services to Project Veritas. It shall have the sole right to use, exploit, advertise, and exhibit the foregoing in any and all media, whether now known or hereafter devised throughout the world in all languages, as Project Veritas and its sole and unfettered discretion shall determine. Employee agrees to that anything created by employee in connection with the services employee provides to Project Veritas shall belong exclusively to Project Veritas and not to the employee, including but not limited to any and all video, film, photographs, negatives, video footage, images, renderings, and audio works, video works, audio recordings, multimedia works, music production, performances, digital media works, still images and or images or footage documents, papers, writings, both published and unpublished, written work, product, including drafts, designs, inventions, patents, trademarks, copyright, etc., etc., etc. So you get the memo. So essentially, guys, is that everything that James O Keefe is doing right now that's outside of Project Veritas, they want to take all what James O Keefe is doing and put it to themselves and put that as content for themselves. Okay, first off, even if you did win this lawsuit, which I don't know how you would, but even if you did win this lawsuit in any regard, that's not going to help you guys, because you take and steal what James O Keefe created from a new company, and you make it into your own company, and then everybody's going to backlash and hate you for it regardless. It is not going to work in your favor at all. It will be a complete net negative for you. In the employment of the agreement, O'Keefe acknowledged that certain information is confidential. Identifying, O'Keefe agreed to all confidential information on the highest confidence and not disclose that confidential information without Project Veritas' prior written consent. So we have this. Employee expressly agrees that the terms of this paragraph shall survive after the conclusion of employee's employment with Project Veritas and or the expiration or termination of this agreement. And that after leaving employment with Project Veritas, in addition to all the other obligations, hereunder employee will not disclose any person or entity or seek from any current or former Project Veritas employee and contractor or vendor any confidential information. Which I don't think James O Keefe has actually done that, but okay. During and after employee's employment shall not directly or indirectly make any disparaging statements or negative remarks, written or oral, about Project Veritas or any of its directors, officers, employees, contractors, blah, 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 blah. You get the memo. Pretty much all those people that are sitting here. So it says here that the employment agreement contains a liquidated damages provision in which O'Keefe acknowledged that if he breaches non-disclosure or non-disparagement obligations, Project Veritas will recover liquidated damages of $100,000 or actual damages, whichever is greater per each such breach. The employment agreement also prohibits O'Keefe from engaging in outside activities that would interfere with or hinder his work for Project Veritas. Specifically, in paragraph 15, O'Keefe agreed that he would not engage in any activity, whether as an employee, contractor, volunteer, or in other capacity for any person or entity other than the Project Veritas that will or is likely to hinder, interfere with, or prevent employee from devoting employees' full-time attention and best efforts to employees' work for Project Veritas. So, hinder, interfere with, or prevent employee from fully and properly performing employee's job responsibilities as assigned to employee from time to time by Project Veritas, or give rise to an actual conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest with Project Veritas and or submission or work, without their express or written approval by the CEO of Project Veritas. First, O'Keefe agreed that during 1 year after his employment, he will not directly or indirectly, individually, or any other capacity solicit, other offer employment, employ, or interfere with any Project Veritas employee or contractor, such blah, 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 blah. So this is pretty much the same all throughout here. Not too much of a banger here. So, well, what we'll do here, let's go to 15. So, we have this here that says, O'Keefe has also misappropriated Project Veritas property by taking Project Veritas equipment, donor list, and intellectual property for his own use with OMG. Indeed, several Project Veritas staff already have joined OMG, including R.C. Maxwell and Anthony Large-Prolis, who appear to be using Project Veritas property in the course of their employment with OMG. That might be the case. I am not entirely sure. We have to see how in court how that much of it is. Of course, it would severely hurt them in every regard if James O'Keefe just ended up buying his own stuff. So, well, our Protos agreement contains the same material terms as O'Keefe's employment agreement as identified here, and they're differently numbered to with the terms of identified paragraphs of the employment agreement appear at paragraphs 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 40, and 25 of the Protos agreement, respectively. Blah, 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 blah. The Maxwell agreement contains the same material terms as O'Keefe's employment agreement as identified herein, though differently numbered to with the terms identified in paragraphs of the employment agreement appear at paragraphs of the Maxwell agreement, respectively, with the exception of that liquidated damages for Maxwell's breaches are calculated at $110,000 per breach. The employment agreement states that if O'Keefe breaches or threatens to breach the employment agreement, Project Veritas can seek preliminary and permanent injunctive relief in court. O'Keefe acknowledged that such a breach or threatened breach will result in irreparable harm to Project Veritas. Plaintiffs will continue to be irreparably harmed unless the court orders O'Keefe to comply with terms of his employment. So, what we have here is just this, and we'll go all the way down to 70 here. They gotta just see what's going on. So we have a remainder of this agreement as to not cause invalidity or enforceability of the remainder of this agreement. All remaining provisions of this agreement shall then continue in full force and effect. If any provision shall be deemed invalid due to its scope or breadth, such a provision shall be deemed valid to the extent of the scope and breadth permitted by law. Intent to be bound, employees acknowledges and agrees that employees has had ample opportunity to consult with the attorney of employees' choice before affixing employees' extension below, indicating employees' unequivocal intent bound to the terms of this agreement. If the above terms and conditions meet with your approval, and if you agree with the statements and factual representations made herein, then please acknowledge your acceptance hereof by signing in the space provided below. Blah 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 blah. So yeah. So this is what Project Veritas is doing, and then finally we'll do into this here. We'll do the 36. To kind of see what all this is. So we have this here. We'll final thing, and then we'll end this. All right, entitled to preliminary and permanent injunctive relief, adjoining OMG from keeping and failing to return any and all property belonging to plaintiffs through Maxwell, and plaintiffs are entitled to attorney's fees and costs to obtain such injunctive relief. Plaintiffs have suffered and will continue to suffer irreparable harm unless the court enjoins OMG misconduct as set forth above the respect to Maxwell. The balance of the equities falls entirely in favor of plaintiffs. Plaintiffs' allegations set forth the various injuries they would suffer if OMG is not enjoined. On the other hand, OMG would suffer no prejudice under the proposed injunction. Player for relief, wherefore plaintiffs respectfully request that this court declare O'Keefe in breach of this employment agreement in violation of his fiduciary duties and in violation of his duty of loyalty, declare Lloydhurst in breach of the law-true agreement, declare Maxwell in breach of the Maxwell agreement, declare OMG to have tortuously interfered with the employment agreement, the law-true agreement, and the Maxwell agreement, declare O'Keefe to have misappropriated the plaintiff's trade secrets, declare O'Keefe liable to indemnify plaintiffs for the cost of defense and or liabilities arising from actions taken by him or his errors or omissions, issue a preliminary permanent injunction enjoining O'Keefe and OMG through O'Keefe and our basic order of permission from O'Keefe from soliciting a contact from plaintiffs' donors, employees, or contractors, disparaging plaintiffs, obtaining, using, or disclosing plaintiffs' confidential information, and keeping and failing to return plaintiffs' property. Issue a preliminary and permanent injunction enjoining Lloydhurst and Maxwell from keeping and failing to return plaintiffs' property. Compel O'Keefe to account for his official conduct under NY Bus Corp law. Award plaintiffs compensatory, punitive, and nominal damages. All funds by which O'Keefe and OMG were unjustly enriched on account of his misappropriation of plaintiffs' trade secrets, discouraging his salary during his period of disloyalty. Award plaintiffs exploited damages under 18 USC, and plaintiffs their reasonable attorney's fees and costs pursuant to paragraph 23B of the employment agreement, paragraph 25 of the Lloydhurst agreement, paragraphs 21 and 22 of the Maxwell agreement, and otherwise allowable by law. Plaintiffs demand trial by jury on all claims, defenses, and all other issues triable by jury in this matter. So, yeah, that's what's going on here. And honestly, here's what I have with this. I think this is all stupid because this is not going to benefit Project Veritas at all. So if we go to Project Veritas here, and you can type in Project Veritas. Normally this just pops up immediately. But, yeah, for what we type in here, we're going to see what happens with all this stuff. And what have you. So we have this. This is from 1 hour ago. The new contemporary narrative circulating claims that Project Veritas is attempting to silence James O Keefe from doing journalism. Here are the actual facts. Project Veritas will never hinder those who wish to engage in undercover journalism. James must cease all defamation targeting our organization. All equipment belonging to Project Veritas must be returned for those who want truth and what really happened. I thought James O Keefe owned Project Veritas. Must have just been the image of it. Strange to see a PV or Twitter account blasting their own image just by personalization. You lost in the end. James will win. You already stole something none of you could have ever built, and you vultures are obviously going to ride it onto the ground and pick the bones clean. Could you leeches at least have the courtesy to leave O'Keefe alone while you destroy yourselves? Project Veritas hindered undercover journalism because of James O'Keefe, investigated Pfizer, and the PV board got rid of him. So, go away, we stand with James. A failing media org says, what? So knocks off the celebrity worship, they're doing good work. Literally just refollowed you again, realizing that was probably a mistake, regardless of whether or not you managed to do some decent work in between throwing a public fit. Wow, the ratio. Great move, PV. You just lighted yourself. James broke finance laws for non-profit orgs. They were asking jail if they did not right his wrongs. In response, he constantly fired the CFO and ran. Only now are they in so good setting as a non-profit. If he ever tries to be a non-profit again, he'll be behind bars. Yeah, no. That's not the case at all. I don't know where you would even see. You have these fucking idiots. See, all the Project Veritas has now, all that Project Veritas has now currently is just the far left, and the far left don't give money. So you trying to do stuff like this is not going to benefit you at all. And also, let's see your actual followers. So you're at 1.1 million followers. I would assume like majority of those are dead followers. So yeah, I don't know about this. You're getting flamed for it and all that stuff. And I'm not quite sure what you really want to say. But Project Veritas, I think you're bound to lose more followers for this. I think you're going to be burning more in flames, and it's just going to be bad for you all around. Alright guys, that's the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care.